Hi guys, it's IRENE'S Braids and I am back with another video. So let's just jump right into it. So today I'll be doing some wine red on my client. I did soak her hair in apple cider vinegar. It soaked for about 5 hours. I took 2 cups of apple cider vinegar and I soaked the braiding hair with it and then went behind it with the clarifying shampoo and conditioner. And then I let them air dry, and once it air dries, it would look something like this. I did let it sit in the sink for just about an hour so the drippings would not be too crazy in the room. Because I do have wooden floors, I try to be very careful with the hair messing up the floors, but I do let them continue to dry onto racks. And the racks that I use are clothing racks that I purchased from Walmart. As you can see, the hair in the background, it is laying on racks. Those racks are clothing racks, so make sure you purchase those. All right, so to start my feed in large buns, I am going to put a base braid in the middle of her head. We've already determined how high we wanted the bun to sit. So definitely make sure that when you're doing your client's hair, you sit her in front of a mirror and you try to see, where does she want her bun? Do you want it further back? Would you like it more towards the top? Once they kind of give you an idea of where they want the bun to sit, you want to create you a circle in the middle, and that is just your base, so that way you know where to stop as you're cornrolling your cornrows and you're braiding it towards the back of your client's head. So when doing this particular piece of circled hair that I did braid here, or that I did part out, I am going to just put a basic knotless braid here. So as I always, start them off into 3 sections with her natural hair, and then I place a piece of braiding hair between my index and thumb finger, and then I braid it into place until it is secure. So I want to say that I did feed in about 6 times to get the size that I'm looking for, but I will say that this sizing was not exactly as the remaining of the braids. It was a little smaller than the rest. However, it still will blend fine. It's not going to be a piece of hair that's just going to stick out so bad that where everyone knows that, you know, this piece was a little smaller than the rest of them. And I'm just mainly talking about the braid side. The braid size that I did do was a little smaller than what I would have done. All right, so when I do part out the hair, I like to start right behind the ear slightly. And I do that because it just gives me a better pinpoint of how I want to angle the braid. So as you can see, above the ear, I did start by her eyebrows and then angle towards the back where I did place that individual braid. I do like taking a little bit of braid gel and I like to comb it through my client's hair so that way it's more manageable as I braid. Now you guys, I'm going to be very honest. When making this clip here, I didn't realize that the camera didn't focus completely on how I put in the braid, but I did make sure to add a very detailed clip of me braiding the back of her hair, and you guys can see exactly how I attached that braid. So first I start off into 3 sections, as you can see here. So as I start off into 3, I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to take that right hand and I'm going to grab hold of that left corner piece. Once I have that in my fingers, I'm going to then take a piece of the extension hair we need, place that in between my index fingers, and then grab that middle piece that was directly in front. You see that? And that's going to be brought backwards, and then I'm going to use my left hand and slide that over towards the right piece to grab a hold of that, and then I'm going to braid it in about 2 to 3 times. I stop, and then I add in a second piece, and then I braid that in 2 to 3 times, and then I stop, and then I want to add in another piece. And I'm going to keep doing that because the more pieces I continue to keep adding, the thicker the braid will become. We're going for large braids, so therefore I need to continue to add so that way I can get the size that I need. Now, this particular clip did not show you exactly what I did, but it was close enough because I didn't realize the camera was not in the best position. But don't worry, you guys, I have an amazing clip for you that will show you very detailed what I did. But for now, I do want to just get down to the point of what my sizing looks like. So as you can see here, I'm showing you the size braid that I'm using. I am going to make little mini braids because I like this little design. I think this is really cute. This type of style has been out for a minute now, but I think it's so cute to bring back towards like summer, spring, so that way clients can have something easy and they can just have a quick style that they don't want to sit long at the shop. So I do start with her natural hair and I braid it about 2 to 3 times. I stop, add a piece of braiding hair, and the hair is going to be the same size. Keep that same consistency, guys. Now, I'm not going to lie. I cannot stand doing these little mini braids. It gets on my nerves because uh, it just gets on my nerves to make mini braids. I don't like it. But I think it's so cute. So I always add it in all my clients' hair when they ask for this look because it's just so cute. But I can't stand doing it. I'm just going to be honest. I cannot. And taking it out is even worse. Okay. My clients you always be like, hey, it was just so difficult for me to take out those small pieces of braid. Because it is. It's difficult. I'm not going to lie. It is. But yeah. So I am gonna, so pretty much what I do is after I make a large braid, there's gonna be a small braid on each side of the bigger braid. So under it and then over it. So that's how I do it there. And then as you can see here, I kept that same consistency. You see that, guys? That same size braid. And then I'm gonna start off with her natural hair. I split it into I split it into 3 pieces, as you can see here. And then I start braiding it in because when you do this, you guys, and you start off with their natural hair, it just keeps it from getting like those tension bumps. So you don't want to start with the braiding hair because you will get tension bumps, especially when you're braiding in the nape of their head. You do not want to start off with just the braiding hair because it could be too tight and then it's hard for them to turn their necks, and you just don't want that. So with this mini braid that I'm doing here and all of my mini braids, I add no more than 3 pieces of hair. That's really all you need. Because if you make the braid too thick, it's going to defeat the purpose of it having that design of mini braids. So try to keep it as mini as possible. Now, if you're braiding and let's say your client's hair density is different and you just feel like you need to add more hair, go right ahead. Because some people's hair isn't either as long or they don't have that, fullness that you may need. So you may find that you need to add another piece of hair. So go right ahead. But I think 4 pieces should be good max. Just 4. Okay. So I'm going to play a little music here, let you guys watch me continue to braid, and then I'll be back to do my voiceover for the back of the nape because I really want to get into detail of how I started the braids at the back. All right, you guys, let's get into the fun part. So here is the back of her head. What I like to do is I like to pre-part out my parts so I can make sure they'll be consistent. Mind you, I do need to make sure I have enough space to add in the mini braids in between because we are still adding the mini braids in the back. So I am taking my comb and I'm just kind of pinpointing how I want the parts to look. Make sure when you're parting them out, you can kind of get an idea that once you do put them in, the width and how it looks is exactly where you need it to be. All right, you guys, so I just want to make sure I add a note here um, that you see how I'm trying to be careful as I'm braiding because this is the back of her hairline in her nape area, and I don't want her to walk around with tension bumps, so I'm being very careful, making sure I'm not braiding too tight. I also want to add that the gel that I'm using, it's more of like a stickier gel in a way to where it helps mold the hair. That way it's easier to braid and then get your braid in there nice and neat. So I highly recommend that you try it. When I originally purchased this gel, I was not a fan of it. And the reason being is because I felt as though the gel turned the hair white. But what I realized is that if you go behind the gel with an oil sheen, it'll lift up. Because what I'm learning is that it depends on your client's hair. It depends on what products they have in it that counteracts with the gel that makes it turn white. That's what I'm starting to realize. But if that does happen, you can kind of go behind it with the oil sheen and the oil sheen will calm it down. Or like the Nairobi foam. I like that foam because there's no alcohol in it. It's just a nice setting foam that'll help dye down the white, the whiteness if it does turn white. But those are just two tips. So now to my clip that I mentioned before that I want to show you. All right, you guys, so we're at the back of her nape. I did split the hair into 3 pieces of her natural hair, and I'm braiding upwards towards the back of her head, or the top, I'm sorry. So after you braid it in 3 pieces, you want to go ahead and add in your piece of braiding hair. Try to keep that sizing of the braiding hair the same, because if you don't, you'll have like a little knot towards the front, and you don't want that. You want it to be as seamless as possible. Now, when I'm braiding, I like to keep my fingers positioned more forward. For some reason, I feel like that helps me secure the braid better. When you position your hands more backwards, I feel like it doesn't give you the grip that you need. So the more forward your hands are, and the more your hands are placed towards the roots of her hair, that should give you a better grip to be able to feed in these pieces of hair. As you can see, I'm braiding in 2 times, and then I'm adding in a piece of hair, just like that. You see, I'm braiding in 2 times, 1, 2, I stop, I add in a piece of hair, and that hair is going up underneath my index finger, and that helps hide it and make it seamless. So I'm going to continue to keep on with this same method, because as you can see, the braid is thickening up, and it looks nice and neat, and it looks like the rest of the other braids is consistent, and that is key here. So the more you keep doing this, the more you'll get the braid you need. And you can also take a comb if you need to kind of clean up the natural hair. But I just kind of rake it with my fingers because it doesn't bother me. But if you like, every piece of hair to be perfect and just sharp and clean, you can get a comb and rake up the natural hair as you're braiding. So every time you take a stop, take the comb and just kind of comb up the natural hair with the braiding hair, so that way you can keep everything clean and consistent. But I like the way it looks like this, because the color 1B and then the wine red mixed together, it just blends nicely. So I'm going to continue to keep adding, even though I feed the hair in and I'm done with scalp braiding. I am going to still add in more hair, because I need the braid itself to be on the thicker side, so that way once I do her bun, the bun will be full. So as I'm braiding down, I'm rolling and tucking the Expressions braiding hair. Freetress braiding hair. I'm rolling it over her natural hair. So I'm rolling and tucking over. So that way we can hide her hair, because you don't want any pieces of her natural hair sticking out throughout the bun. You see that? And I'm going to continue to keep doing that. So I do like to add pieces up under, and what that does too, it helps extend the braiding hair and make it longer, so that way I can continue to get to the length that I'm looking for. So yes, that's what we're doing here. I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit more music, and then we'll be back for the final touches. All right, you guys, so we are finally done with all of the feet and braids. I am taking a wider rubber band, and I am making sure that the hair is placed in nicely for her bun. I did step in front of her to make sure that the ponytail itself was not crooked, because if it is, then your bun will be crooked. So you want to make sure that you look in the front of your client and position it and clean it up from the front. Get the hair where it needs to be, pull it over, and just make sure that your bun will be straight. Now, I want to be honest with you guys. When I first started feeding in, I used to struggle so bad with feeding in hair. And if you're a client that struggles with it, I just want to let you know to just to keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. And I hope that the little steps that I told you while watching this video are beneficial to you. So practice makes perfect. Just try. You will get it. It gets frustrating, but you will get it. And drop some comments in the comment section. Let me know what the struggles are for you as you're braiding. What do you struggle with the most? I kind of want to hear that. Let me know your journey. And if you have, finally succeeded and you have figured out the method of feeding in the braids, let me know how that went for you. Maybe someone else can pick up some tips from you and learn from you as well. If you love this video, please make sure that you subscribe, drop some comments, and if anything, thumbs up the video, you guys. A thumbs up won't hurt. If you definitely learned something from this, I do look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Don't forget that you can find me on all social media platforms at IRENE'S Braids. And don't forget that you can click the links in the description box below. And you can find me for booking an appointment if you'd like to. I'm located in Suwanee, Georgia. And last but not least, do not forget to get those 3-inch bobby open pins and pin your client's hair with it, because those bobby pins definitely help. She wants to go for a ponytail look, so I did not do the bobby pins because we're going to dip the ponytail and then she's leaving. She wants it in a ponytail. But if you like the bun look, make sure you secure it for sure with some bobby pins. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye, guys.